Welcome to this week's G.I. Joe toy review, where we will be reviewing Dreadnought Torch, the dumbest of all Dreadnoughts, but yet a very awesome figure. You'll find out all that out in a little bit. But before we get to looking at Dreadnought Torch, let's do our shout outs of the week. First, it'll be Back to the Media at 41 South Loudon Street. And their website is www.backtothemedia@gmail.com. Their website is backtothemedia@gmail.com or backtothemedia.com. They can be found on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. Check them out where you get video games, music, movies, and more. And they do a lot of vintage stuff like Nintendo and Atari and so on and so forth. And while you're in the neighborhood, check out Time Traveler Toys and Collectibles at 115 South Loudon Street, right there at the other end of the Walking Mall. And their email address is timetravelertoys@gmail.com. You can find them on Facebook. And Charles has got a great extensive collection of like wrestling figures, G.I. Joe, Transformers, He-Man, Thundercats, Star Trek, Star Wars, as well as other collectibles, movies, and whatnot. So go ahead and check them out. So let's get on to our feature presentation, Dreadnought Torch. And as always, we're going to start off with the file card, because you can always find tidbits of information in these. As you can see, it's got a picture of Torch with the enemy at the bottom. And this was in a comic 2-pack of with Ripper, with both Torch and Ripper's card as a glossy black finish on the back, file card on the front. And it reads Dreadnought, codename Torch, file name Winkin' Tom. Which actually an ironic thing about the first three Dreadnoughts, Buzzer, Ripper, and Torch. Their names are Tom, Dick, and Harry. And they also got the last names of that old nursery rhyme poem, Winkin', Blinkin', and Nod. But that's a little side humor for that. But his birthplace is Botany Bay, New South Wales, in Australia. And it says, the text reads, Dreadnought Torch was remained to Borstal, a reform school. At age 14, he escaped and went to sea with the merchant marines, where he learned to use the use of a cutting torch. He is an unrepentant thug whose penchant for sudden and unexpected violence is matched only by his utter depth of his stupidity. I told you we find out about his stupidity, why he's the dumbest Dreadnought. Specialty and MO, which is Latin, as you can tell by the asterisk, there's an asterisk down here, and it says modus operandi. And if you can't speak Latin, modus operandi means mode of operations. And it goes on to say, works with Axiase Tylene Torch as a general cutter, mostly on remodeling stolen cars and occasional safe breaking. Scavenges the swamps for fun and profit. And of course he alludes to the swamps because he's a Dreadnought and their leader is Sartan. And Sartan's known from the swamps. But let's take a look at Torch's accessories. And as always, it's the G.I. Joe figure stand with the upraised Cobra logo. Excuse me. Which I've always said that the Dreadnought's logo should be right there where the Cobra logo is, because that would have been a lot cooler. Because technically they're not Cobra, they're a motorcycle gang mercenaries hired by Cobra. And it says on the front, codename Dreadnought Torch. And like I said in Crazy Legs' video last week, I like it without the codename written on the front, where it's just the name. And in Dreadnought Torch's case, it'll just say Torch. But he also comes with his welder's gun with the typical long gray hose, which is not really a hose, it's just a wire. It just plugs into the tank, which is our next spot because it plugs in right there. Here it is, backpack, which is the welding tool gas line, and the open space in there is where his oxygen tank or whatever this is, but I know it's an oxygen tank, looks like, and it does fit in right there on his backpack. So let's go ahead and take a look at Dreadnought Torch. And he's got brown hair with the red bandana going all the way around, black sunglasses, and he's got mutton chops. And the way it connects to his mustache is actually would be what's considered friendly mutton chops. He's got a black vest with chains on it, which is on the back. It's got Melbourne Maulers with which I guess is their logo, which is ironic because it's not on this current file card, but it does mention on the file card of the vintage figure he was his first motorcycle gang was the Melbourne Maulers from down there in Australia. He's got on like gray, looks like forearm bands, as well as gray gloves with black wristbands on each side. Also on this arm, he's got a tattoo on this arm of the Dreadnought symbol. It comes down to a gray belt with very articulated, or very, very, very greatly sculpted pouch right there and right there. He's got on his blue jeans, which I did mention in the first Torch review that I did over a year ago. I had no idea what this hose is supposed to be, but it's actually for the welding torch gun. And he's got a pouch there on that leg. And it's got blue jeans on, gray boots. So let's take a look at the articulation of Torch. Typical modern era Joe figure. His head could go all the way around. His arm could go up to there. His arm could roll all the way around. Bends at the elbow. Swivels at the elbow. His wrist could turn all the way around. I just noticed he actually has a sculpted on watch on that arm. Just noticed it. And he does have the ab crutch feature, but it's kind of hindered with its leather vest. His legs spread about there. They got his leg can lift to about there. Double knee joint. He's got the ankle pivot as well as the ankle swivel. So let's take a look at Torch setup, and then I will rate him and give you my thoughts and all that good stuff. And here we are with Torch all ready to go, and ready to set out and do some destruction with his fellow Dreadnoughts. This Torch was, I never had Torch in the vintage line, but I did have Buzzer, but I always wanted Torch. And I kind of did one Ripper too, because to complete the whole set. But unfortunately, I was never able to get Torch nor Ripper. But actually, I'm glad to have them now in the modern era line. And to work with my Dreadnoughts, because the Dreadnoughts was my favorite group of all time. Torch was I would say my third favorite Dreadnought. And my favorite Dreadnoughts were always Ropig, Buzzer, and Torch. You know, Ropig had to be my favorite because he was the bulkiest and had the best weapon with the cinder block on a stick. But Torch has another cool weapon, which is just as cool, with the cutting torch. So I would rate Ripper as a top tier figure, just because of the immensely popular that the Dreadnoks are. But you can check out the vintage videos on the vintage Torch, the reviews of Hooded Cobra Commander 788 and Forum BX257. There's also other reviews on this modern Torch, and you also see my other review of Torch, which was not all that great. So I'm glad I got the comic 2-pack so I could do a better review on Torch. This was a great review, and it's a good way to end February with Torch. And I was thankful to be able to do it. So tune in next week as we do begin March, and I introduce you to the popular figure of March, which will be an awesome review as I review G.I. Joe's first Marine, Gung Ho, the 50th anniversary Gung Ho. So go ahead, check this out. This will be good. You know, and I hope y'all enjoyed the review of Dreadnok Torch. Like I said, tune in next week for Gung Ho. Check out my other videos. If you like this video, drop the elbow. If you on the like button. If you didn't like it, drop the elbow on the dislike button. Subscribe. I hope y'all enjoy this video. Share it with your friends and family on social media. Check out next week's video of Gung Ho. And like always, now you know, and knowing is half the battle. See y'all next week.